Greetings, I'm Dike Rostant. Welcome back to the TTT News. The month of April is recognized as Child Abuse Awareness Month. Now, with that in mind, Minister with Responsibility for Gender and Child Affairs, Ayanna Webster-Roy, and National Child Rights Ambassadors, Sapna Joseph and Ajay Gordon, they join us to speak to activities within the month. Now, welcome and greetings to you, and now Sapna and then AJ, please. I want to start off very briefly asking, why did you want to become a Child Rights Ambassador?
Good evening. So I first learned about the Child Rights Ambassador program in September of 2020, and that was during the first lockdown. Now, I'm a person who really enjoys participating in extracurricular activities. That was something that I was very much a busybody in that sense. And so, um, at the around September during the first lockdown, all of those activities, of course, came to a standstill. And that really, I mean, being home that much and just studying and eating and sleeping and repeats, basically, that really had me in a rough patch mentally. So when I learned about the Child Rights Ambassador program from my mommy, I was immediately interested, because it was something to do, but also I saw, I did some research and I really, really saw the potential this program had to improve the lives of children right here in Trinidad, but all over the world too.
And
So,
looking at the lives of children and that potential for improving, is that a feeling that you shared as well, AJ?
Of course. Now, I am a child rights ambassador and this is my second year. But I am not new to activism. I was the tourism club's president, and I mostly dealt with environment and these types of stuff, the tourism and littering and recycling. But when I became a prefect at my school and I had to interact intimately with younger students, I saw various needs in my class, in that class. And then when I looked at the broader horizon, I got to see that, when you look at news, these persons who are living in poverty and those who cannot afford to buy tablets, and it was a mess basically. And I really felt like I needed to step up and move from my own boundary, my own little bubble, and speak up for something greater than myself.
And when I hear bubble, I immediately think, no pun intended, looking at the pandemic. But Minister, how do you feel hearing these two individuals talking about stepping up and doing things, looking at the wider picture? What was going through your mind when you listened to them?
Well, thank you, Dike. I'm extremely proud of our child rights ambassadors. When we developed the program, we developed it with empowering children in mind, helping our young Trimbigonians to become change agents and also champions of their own rights. And when I listen to both AJ and Sapna, as a parent, as the minister with responsibility for gender and child affairs, I feel as though that something good is happening in Trinidad and Tobago. The fact that they are able to look beyond their own challenges, their own needs, and to see the needs of others, to see the challenges, the shortcomings in our society, and want to be actively involved in bringing about meaningful change, it means that the Child Rights Ambassadors Program is actually fulfilling its mandate, not only helping children to understand their rights, but also helping them to understand the responsibilities that accompany each right, and helping children who are involved in the program to also go out and advocate and empower those within their communities to also become change agents and champions for the rights of all children in Trinidad and Tobago. So congratulations to both Sapna and Adrian, to all our child rights ambassadors. I'm extremely proud.
And with that note of point of pride, going back to you, please, AJ, what is Child Abuse Awareness Month?
Now, Abuse Awareness Month is celebrated annually in the month of April, and it is also supported by UNICEF. For this month, the ministry, the Child Affairs Division, is really seeking to acknowledge the importance of families and communities, working together to break this barrier and also to end child abuse. Now, child abuse, you may not see it on the street, it may not be on the news every night, but it is definitely taking place. And if you look at the statistics, it is getting more rampant even as we are on lockdown and students are at home with these abusers. And so it's just a month where the ministry is seeking to bring awareness to the situation by using child protection animated quick quiz along with some other stuff where persons can win prizes, but more importantly, be educated about how to prevent child abuse.
Thank you so much. And Minister, they say hindsight is 2020, but at the same time, if we want to be proactive, what are some of those characteristics of an abuser, signs that someone is being abused? What are some of those things that we need to be looking for and aware of?
So, DK, these statistics and studies would show that it's often difficult to profile an abuser. However, there are certain common trends or characteristics that you could pick out among those persons who tend to abuse children. So, one, most times, oftentimes, abusers were abused. Two, they're often someone, and the statistics would prove that they're often someone either within the family unit or someone who is close to the family or well known or close to the child. Um, so there are different types of abuse. So we use the acronym PENS to talk about the different types of abuse. So there's the physical abuse, there's emotional abuse, there's neglect, and there's sexual abuse. For physical abuse, you and in terms of the person who is being abused, you can look for marks, etc., on the body. In terms of the abuser, you could look at the behavior of the child around a particular person. Is the child reluctant to be in the vicinity of a particular adult? Is the child displaying emotional distress when the person's name comes up? Similarly, with emotional abuse as well, you will see this child displaying, they may be withdrawn, they may be speaking about wanting to hurt themselves, or sometimes they may just be not the usual self. And when you link that to the abuser, you may see that that child may not really want to express themselves freely around the person, again, wanting to be away from the individual, or the child is being, the personality changing. In terms of sexual abuse, and I'm skipping the sexual abuse before I get to neglect. In terms of sexual abuse, you could also look for the different signs. So, for example, if a child might be complaining about pain in any specific parts of their body, or if that child is, again, displaying any marks across their body, or if that child is the behavior is just changing. And then when you link that to the abuser, again, you look for, is the child acting differently if they're in the presence of the person? Does the child want to be protected or have someone else in the vicinity if they're around the abuser? And in terms of neglect, so neglect is when we see those children who may be looking as though they might be malnourished, or they're coming to school and they're not looking as though they're really ready for school, or they're just not looking as though they have getting the best care. And most times with neglect, it's oftentimes someone within the immediate family that would be neglecting the child, primarily the main caregiver. So when you look at that abuser or the perpetrator in that instance, you may see the child not really wanting to be very open around them or being very comfortable around that particular individual. What we want to encourage citizens to do as they learn the acronym PENS to be able to differentiate the different types of abuse is to also learn the acronym FAST.
And even
and we
before you
encourage.
break down that acronym for us, Minister, we want to take a short break because I don't want to rush you in terms of breaking down that acronym. So, Minister Ayanna Webster-Roy, Ambassador Sapna Joseph, and Ajay Gordon, we take a short break. We come back speaking about Child Abuse Awareness Month and things that we are supposed to be cognizant of. Stay with us. We return.
It's a new term at the Magnifico High School. What's this? It sounds like a child in distress.
Test after test after test. You want a little something to ease the pressure? Well, maybe in your fairy tale world, but here we can't do nothing.
Children and random bystanders are least likely to report any form of abuse. But wait, who's this? It's 3 of our junior heroes from the Child Protection League.
And we say welcome back. We are speaking about a Child Awareness Month, or Child Abuse Awareness Month. We're doing so with Minister Ayanna Webster-Roy, as well as National Child Ambassadors Sapna Joseph and Ajay Gordon. Now, Minister, just before we took the break, you broke down one acronym for us, PENS. That's physical, emotional, neglect, and sexual. And you started to itemize another one. Please continue.
Thanks, Dike. So before we went on break, I spoke about PENS, and that would be identifying the different types of abuse. And I was getting to the point of encouraging persons to act fast. And when we say fast, FAST, the F in fast, we're referring to the family as well as National Family Services. So I would have mentioned previously that oftentimes the abuser might be someone known to the family or someone within the family unit. For a child that is being abused, if there's another trusted individual within the home or a trusted relative, talk to that person. Speak out. Once you speak out, then we'll be able to get you some help. If in the family unit they're having challenges, not only about abuse, but just different stresses, and they don't know how to cope, they may be thinking that the only course of action is to become physical, become violent with the children, reach out to the National Family Services for free counseling. There's a hotline available, 800-2619. Please do not let violence be the first course of action to resolve any conflict within your home. Let us normalize asking for help. Let us normalize seeking counseling for our families and for children. So again, the National Family Services, 800-2619, and that is the F in our FAST acronym. The other A is for the authorities. Please, if you're a child, you're in imminent danger, contact the Children's Authority, 996-800-2014. If you're an adult, you suspect that a child might be in danger, please contact the Children's Authority, 996-800-2014, or please contact the police at 999. So we have the F and the A in our FAST acronym. The S is for school. So you might not want to reach out to the police right just yet, or the Children's Authority or National Family Services, but it might be something bothering you and you need some guidance. Please, we have the support available through the Student Support Services. We have guidance counselors and school social workers. We have teachers and principals. And within the whole child care and protection framework, we refer to these persons as duty bearers. So for a child or a parent who may need that additional support for anything that they may be going through, please reach out to the school social work hotline at 724-1010. And we get to T, that's the telephone, the good old telephone. We have intervention, help, assistance through Childline that is contacted at 131 or 800 4321. If you don't want to contact Childline, contact a trusted adult to help you cope with whatever it is you're going through. If you're not in imminent danger, that is. If you're in imminent danger, please contact first and foremost the police at 999 or the Children's Authority at 996 800 2014. And please permit me, Dike, just to make another appeal to our families, to our parents, to our caregivers. Let violence not be the first course of action to treat with any form of conflict within the home. Let us talk it out. If you can't talk it out among yourself and you need that specialized support and intervention, please contact National Family Services where they have free counseling available. The hotline number again is 800 2619. Let us normalize seeking help. Let us normalize counseling for our families and our children. Let us end all forms of violence within our homes and our communities. I strongly believe that Trinidad and Tobago is destined for greatness, and we all have greatness within us. We just have to manifest that. And we have to by
And sadly, that
supporting each
message
other.
is all too timely, Minister. And I have 30 seconds each, and definitely I want to have Sapna and AJ weigh in. And Sapna, why is a child abuse awareness so important to you at this point in time? You have 30 seconds.
So, child abuse is important to me as a child because there are children all over the world, including right here in Trinidad and Tobago, who are being hurt and neglected in different ways and who don't receive the protection, nurturing, and care that they need. And this really breaks my heart because I think that all children have different needs, but the least that each child deserves is to be loved and protected and to be given what they need to become the best versions of themselves. Now, abuse can take many forms: physical, sexual, verbal, mental, emotional, and can be inflicted in different ways. It's very important for children to be aware of the different types of abuse and the signs of abuse because it's very well possible that a child may be in an abusive situation and not even recognize it because that is their normal.
Definitely,
So, if your
and the
child
minister would have actually spoken of to those situations. Your 30 seconds, please, AJ.
Or child abuse is one of the things that can hinder our future as a country. And what we often forget is that the children, the little boys and girls that we see in the nursery school, in the primary school, in the secondary school classes, they are going to be our members of parliament, they are going to be our police officers, our teachers, our lawyers, or doctors in the future. And so when we hurt these children as in at this point in time, what do we expect them to do in the future? How do we expect them to relate to others and to operate in society in the future? That is something that we must always have in the back of our minds as we conduct ourselves with our young people.
Definitely, that is something that we need to look at. And we want to thank you, Sapna Joseph, and AJ Gordon. Minister, you have 45 seconds to talk about the animated quick quiz. So you're talking about it quickly. Thank you.
So for this observance of Child Abuse Awareness Month, the Child Rights Ambassadors would have developed an animated feature talking about child abuse, talking about the national child policies, about different strategies for us to cope and with abuse and also preventing it. I'm encouraging citizens to please visit our website www.opm-gca.gov.tt. Please visit our social media platforms. Please participate in our course. We have a lot of prizes for you to win. The prizes are there as an incentive, but most importantly, we want you to just just absorb as much information as possible and share it widely throughout your community and your network. Even as the competition ends at the end of June, continue to visit the website and absorb as much information as possible and empower others. There's a saying, hurt people often go on to hurt people. Let us
Definitely.
break that mold and that trend. Let us create a different Trinidad and Tobago. Help is available. Please reach out for help. If you know of someone who's been abused, speak up. Please speak up. Let
And
your
we want to
voice
thank you
count.
for actually making us a little more aware of the opportunities that we have, the options that we have. Minister with Responsibility for Gender and Child Affairs, Ayanna Webster-Roy. We also want to thank the National Child Rights Ambassadors that shared time with you, Minister, Sapna Joseph and Ajay Gordon. And on behalf of the entire TTT News team, I'm Dike Rostant. This has been In Depth. Thank you for joining us.